weird.
So Otto has to jump in because he thinks that our prop is loose. So he's getting all of his scuba gear on. He's going to go down there and investigate. And the current is moving really fast. Well, we still have sails up. We're sailing away.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens in a few minutes. Okay, as you can see by the mess in our cockpit and all of the equipment, Otto attempted to go down and do a check, like a scuba diving check. Okay, so he tried to go down in there, and what happened when you tried to go down in there?
The water's going by way too fast. I felt like I was in a ride at Raging Waters, and I couldn't, like, I'm so glad that I tied myself to the boat, because I would have just gone.
Yeah.
And who knows how that would have gone, but.
So now we did the GoPro on the pole.
And I don't think I got that because I couldn't hold on to it because the current is just trying to push the pole so hard I can't hold it still. In fact, it was like because the water was going by so fast. So I'm gonna.
Don't get closer because I'm zoomed in.
I'm gonna get it on the iPad and see now. So.
Okay, we'll check back. It's a pretty nasty day today. It's I don't know, 5 in the morning. The sun's just barely coming up. And we got waves slamming into the side of us here. Then we go down. Then we go up. Then we go down. Then we go up. Needless to say, we're not having fun today. So, what's the plan, Otto?
Well, we were aiming that way more, and it was just downright miserably rolly, like so much, almost felt like knockdowns. So I've decided not to do that. We're just gonna go out to sea more, even though I don't really want to. But out is smoother. There'll be less wind out there. So we're gonna be way out there, like 200 miles for a few days until it calms down, and then we're gonna come back in on the tail of this over towards Catalina. That's our plans.
All right.
I believe this is day 5. Just at the end. Obviously, that's sunset. So, we got right at about 17, 18 knots of wind. And it's going okay. Sailing along pretty good, doing about 5.5 knots boat speed. Got double reefed main. And can't see it very well, but the head sail is probably about a third. stops there. Can't see it. The rest of it's behind the main, obviously. But going into the night, Jamie said she's gonna get up at 10, take her shift till 4 or whatever, whenever she wakes me up. So, yeah. I will say, out here, it's, for me, better than in the cabin. Inside the cabin, goodness gracious, that boat makes a lot of noise. And it's not just the boat, it's like all of our stuff clanking around in cupboards and pots and pans slamming against each other. Try and like put towels and stuff in between them and whatever you can do, but it still just makes a ton of noise. So it's what it is. I'm gonna watch for this green flash that they keep talking about, that right when the sun goes down, it's supposed to make this green flash in the sky. So it'll probably be another 5 minutes. So it's not what I thought. I thought the sky was gonna like flash green, but I do see what I think they're talking about. You probably can't see it on the video because it's too bright, but, and now it's gone. But just as the sun was going down, the sun turned green, which is interesting. So I did see that, if that's what these people are talking about. And it wasn't just an instant flash. It like turned green for a little while, but it was kind of shrouded by the clouds, so it was a little bit difficult to see. But it did. It was weird. So I got to witness that. I got to experience that. So that's kind of cool. Nobody here to experience it with me, but I'm just soloing it tonight for a while. We are videoing.
Okay. I'm not going to say what I was going to say then, because it's not very nice.
Oh. So,
here we are in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, we're
riding the waves.
a couple 100 miles off the coast of California, and we are now, we're on a port tack. I have a second reef in the main, and I don't know, I'd say probably a little bit better than a third of the head sail rolled out. We're doing 5.5 or so, and the waves are pretty big. I feel like, you know, it's not going to show in the video. It never does.
Well, we had a little bit of a knockdown.
We had 2 of them, two sort of knockdowns. We got to the point where.
Well, the first one I had this open, and water came in the boat, like through this hole.
Yeah.
So that was fun because I was eating breakfast.
So I don't want to say that we dipped the spreaders in the water or anything, because I don't think we did that, but it was way over, to the point of mental discomfort. It wasn't pleasant. But it happened really fast and it was over. But now, so I see like storm videos and stuff where the waves look like this. You know, again, on the video it's probably not going to look like anything. You're going to think like, what a pansy, but they're some of them are kind of small, but some of them are pretty freaking big. And it seems like no way we're going to be able to go over that. That's going to break over the back of the boat or whatever, but we just go up it and it just goes past us. It's pretty incredible. So it's really relatively uneventful, and I'm finding that one needs to carry some speed, because if you don't have enough sail out and you're not going fast enough, you get thrashed around a lot, and the inside of the boat makes way more noise and no one can sleep, and that smile isn't there.
Well, and when it's my shift, I'm always like pedal to the metal. I'm pushing it.
Yeah.
And then he sleeps all nice. And then when he takes over, he's like, oh, we have to bring it down, conservative, make it all gentle. And I go in there and it sounds like a marching band is practicing, and I'm underneath them, so
yeah.
faster is better.
To a degree, yeah, I think so. And we can go fast enough to make it better. I'm just conservative. I just don't want to put stress on the rig and everything else. But in all reality, I mean, even the amount of sails we have out right now in 15 knots wind, sometimes up to, I'll show you, I'll prove it to you, I'm not just making this up, sometimes up to 26 knots if you look at the max right there. So 26.5 knots of wind. But even that, with our sail plan we have currently, we're heeled over to like 10 degrees, as much as I've seen it. For the most part, all I really see is the boat swinging, so it's very difficult to gauge the amount of heel that we have going. But it's somewhere between like 7 and 10 degrees. It's really not that much. So I don't think we're putting that much stress on the rig. But see, that was a pretty big wave right there.
Yeah.
And again, like, it doesn't probably look like it in the video, but it's strange when you see like a million-gallon pile of water aiming at you. It's just a weird feeling. So yeah, I'll stop talking and we can just watch some sailing for a second here. So that was just a few minutes of sailing along.
A little sampling of our day.
Yeah. So I'm gonna check it out now. Quedagh merchant standing by.
Okay, so it appears as though something on the top of the mast has ripped or broke, something like that. So we have the repair team out there fixing it. And seem to be doing a good job. It's very rocky without the sails up. Still no land in sight.
Alright, so I'm gonna sneak down and try not to wake up the XO or the first mate there and give you a little video of what sleeping is kind of like when you're down there in conditions like this. And most of the time you can see that there's some swinging and swaying, but I never seem to get the big waves on video, but every once in a while, like every, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, there's some big suckers, like house-sized waves that come by and pitch us and roll us. So you still have to just keep sleeping during all that. And sometimes they pound on the side of the boat, and it sounds like you just ran into something. But I'm gonna sneak down there and try and show you what it's like for them. I don't usually sleep down there because it's, I don't know, I try to sometimes, but it's nerve-wracking thinking my wife's up here by herself having to deal with the boat. But here I go. That's an excellent sea berth. I gotta go back out. It's my watch. Okay. So anyway, just a small look. Quedagh merchant standing by. So we sort of have to go now through the back part of the storm, which is not the most intense portion of the storm, but not gonna lie, it's still nerve-wracking. It throws the boat around a lot. And this is a big boat. It's a big, heavy boat, and it does not matter. It does. The ocean does what it wants. Ocean will win. if it wants to. The only chance you have is if God wants you to stay around. End of. So I'm not terribly uncomfortable. Not gonna lie, I want a Xanax right now. That's for sure. Calm my nerves. Prayed a couple times for God to change the wind direction. I don't even mind so much the wind speed that we have. It's 20 plus in general, and sometimes up to like 28. So that's not that bad. I can tolerate 22 to 28 knots of wind, but what the wind does to the sea makes things somewhat frightening. I mean, it's not terribly frightening, but somewhat. Like it's worrying. The reason it's worrying to me is not so much that right now this is, I could tolerate this. I could do this all day long as nothing happens to the boat. If I blow out a sail or break some more sliders or something and something else breaks, that's when things gonna go bad, because we won't be able to do this exactly if something breaks. So, and I know 25 knots of wind is really not that big of a deal in the scope of like people sailing around the world all the time. But I'm relatively new to blue water sailing here. This is my 8th or 9th day, I can't remember. Blue water in my own boat, 240 miles off the coast of California, which sounds like, oh, California's great, but I don't care what anybody says, it gets rough out here. So, anyway, that's it, I guess. Quedagh Merchant standing by. So I have my doubts that you can see anything. I don't know. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But this is nighttime, hence the problem for seeing. And it's a bit of a storm. And we went into the heart of it because we have to go this way to go the way we need to go to get to where we want to end up. So this night is kind of intense. We're doing like anywhere from 6 to 8.5 knots of boat speed. The wind is just blowing constantly. Sometimes more than others, obviously. That's why it's 6 to 8. But very difficult night. Hard to stay awake. Jamie took some seasick pills because, or a quarter of a seasick pill because she wasn't feeling well. And I myself am starting not to feel so great. But